A year and a half ago, I was 16, in college, failing all my exams, didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Here I am now, 18, scaling my rent-to-rent business, which generates me over £10,000 a month passively, and recently got this new Ferrari 488, which I obviously purchased with my business on a company lease. So, in this video, I'm going to explain to you step by step how I got to this point and how I managed to scale myself to £10,000 a month at 18 years old so quickly with this business model called rent-to-rent. If you don't know who I am, my name is Destiny Officer. I've been doing property since I was 16, networking around millionaire landlords, famous landlords since I was 16. I've been in this industry, I know what I'm talking about. A year and a half ago, I was 16 with 0 properties to my name. Here I am now, 18 years old, managing over 10 property units, Airbnb, HMO, social housing. I do all these business models in order to generate this passive income of £10,000 every single month. Listen, property is not a get quick rich scheme. Okay, I've been putting in the work, okay? And in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how I got to this point. Yeah, from 16, broke in college, failing all my exams, to 18, in a Ferrari 488 with my business, okay? Generating over £10,000 a month. In this video, I'm going to break down to you step by step, in detail, how I got to this point, making over £10,000 every single month at 18 years old. So, you may be wondering, what is rent to rent? Rent to rent is when you lease a property from a landlord and then you sublet it. There's many different ways you can sublet a property that you obviously lease from a landlord. You could do a HMO, you could do service accommodation, you could go through social housing. Okay, me, myself, I specialize in all these areas of property. You may be wondering how you make money from subletting it from a landlord to a tenant, okay? You get a property from a landlord at a lower price and then you sublet it usually on a HMO basis, room by room, at a higher price. And then that little margin, that profit from your rent and your rental income from your tenants is the profit you keep. For example, if I take a property from a landlord for £1,200 a month and an Airbnb it for £100 a night and I'm booked for the whole month, that's £3,000. Okay, usually you get more than £100 a night. In this example, I'm just using £100 a night. So let's do 100 times 30, that's £3,000, and then your rent to the landlord, that's £1,200. That £1,800 profit is purely yours. I'm going to give you an example on the screen now, which is one of my recent Airbnbs. So this particular Airbnb on the screen now goes for £140 a night. The occupancy rate in the area is 70%. 70% of a whole month is 21 days. £2,940 every single month in revenue, okay? The rent I'm paying to the landlord is £1,150. So if I take away £1,150, that's around £1,700 every single month on one property. I've got 10 of these, okay? Not all the properties make this amount of money. Some make £800 a month, some make £1,000 a month, but this one in particular makes £1,790 every single month consistently, okay? Now you can see how I can afford a Ferrari 488. Enough of that, I've explained the business model. Now let's go back in time to when I was 16, first starting out. So this is me at 16, okay? I've been telling you, I've done the networking, okay? I've met the landlords, I've been in this industry, I've done all the networking I needed. So this is me at 16, okay? At a site, trying to sell a property deal to my client, okay? This deal here, I actually sold this deal here to this client, as you can see on the screen, for £3,000. Okay, the reason why this client got the property from me in particular is because that property there makes him £800 every single month. Okay, he bought that property deal from me for £3,000. That was my very, very first property deal that I sold. Okay, I'm going to give you the property statistics, okay? 4-bedroom house in Sheffield, making over £1,800 a month. The rent to the landlord is £1,000. That's around £800 profit every single month. Stable profit, passive income to my client, okay? I told you at the time, I was broke, I had no money, okay? So I used that £3,000 that I got from that client to invest in my rent-to-rent business, okay? Most people would have spent that on designer, okay? On a Moncler top, on this, on that, okay? But me, at 16, I used that £3,000 profit that I gained from selling that deal to that client to start my rent-to-rent business. From reading books such as Rich Dad, Poor Dad, 48 Laws of Power, all these educational books, yeah, I knew that I had to use this large sum of capital, which is £3,000, which is the most money that I've ever seen in my life. You know, I grew on council estates, okay? I'm not used to money, okay? So when I seen that large capital, I knew I had to just keep going, okay? I knew I had to reinvest, okay? The only way you can make money is when you spend money, okay? You spend money to make money, Okay, scared money doesn't make money. I knew as soon as I got that £3,000 capital, I had to reinvest to make more money. Okay, normal people would have spent that money on clothes, designer. Okay, I can buy that now, as you can see, Moncler top, Louis Vuitton bracelet. I can buy that now. Okay, I'm at the stage now I can start spending money. Okay, because I've put in the work. Okay, if I wasn't making 10 grand passively, I wouldn't be doing this. Okay, so that's me at 16, made my first 3 grand, and I started to look into getting deals for myself. Okay, listen, that deal that I sold to that client, I would have took it myself, but I didn't have the money for it. Okay, I didn't have the initial deposit. I didn't have the first month rent. I didn't have, it came furniture, so I didn't need to pay for furniture. Okay, so these things I didn't have the money for. Okay, at the time. So after I sold my first deal at 16, I'm reaching the age of 17. Okay, at 17, I'm still in college. I'm still failing my exams. I've made a bit of money. I've not told anyone. No one knows I've made this money. Okay, I've used that 3 grand to look for properties in the area that I wanted to get started in. Okay, so here comes my very first deal. Okay, this deal still makes me money till this day. Okay, I've got a 3-year contract with the landlord. I've got a really good relationship with this landlord that's given me this first deal. Okay, he still comes to me now. Okay, if you're one of my members in my Property Ballers Academy, he still comes to me now. I tell you guys about him a lot because he has funded a lot of my portfolio with my rent to rents. Okay, here comes my very first property deal at 17. Okay, I'm looking on open rent. I'm looking on the open market. Okay, for property deals. There wasn't one day where I wouldn't be on Rightmove, I wouldn't be on Zoopla, I wouldn't be on Open Rent. Even in college, okay, I used to go on Open Rent, Rightmove. My friends used to ask me, what am I doing? Like, why am I looking at houses? Why am I doing this? I didn't want to, I kept everything on the low, okay? I like to let success speak for itself, okay? So no one really knew I was doing property until I started getting in cars like this, buying designer clothes, doing that. No one really knew I was in property, okay? I went to Dubai on my 18th birthday. That's when they started realizing, okay, this guy's making money with property. Okay, as soon as I went to Dubai, I had friends text me saying, I want to get started, I want to do this, I want to do that. So enough of that, here comes the first deal, okay? On the open market, 3-bedroom, 2 receptions, 2 bathrooms in the heart of Manchester. Okay, I turned one of the lounges into a living room that's 4-bedroom. Okay, each room goes for 550 to 600. Okay, that's nearly 612. That's 2.4, 2.5 grand every single month. Okay, rent to the landlord 1,200. That's 13. That's £1,300 profit. Okay, that was my first cash flow. Okay, and me, since I used my initial £3,000 that I got from selling that first deal, I knew that I had to reinvest and reinvest and reinvest. I never kept any of my cash flow. Okay, every little penny of my cash flow, initial cash flow, which was 1,300, went into another deal. Okay, 2 months I saved. That's 2.6k. That's another first month rent, first month deposit. Okay, my first 2 deals came from that very first landlord. Okay, I just kept reinvesting my profits. I'm big on reinvesting. Okay, I didn't spend until I started making 5 to 6k a month. Okay. And this is how I'm in this car, okay? This is how I'm buying all this clothes, okay? So even now I'm tight. I don't really like to buy designer because I want to push for more, okay? You can never be comfortable, okay? That's why I advertise moving out, living in a big city, so you grow your mind, okay? You're forced to grow, okay? Especially when you come from a background like me, okay, where you don't come from much, you're forced to grow, you're forced to make money. Okay, I knew from my child that I had to make money. Okay, as soon as I hit college, as soon as I started failing my exams, I had no choice but to expand. Okay, and I chose this business model. Okay, that's my very first deal, making me 1,300. I used my profits from that cash flow, okay, to get my second deal. Okay, that's 2.6k every single month. Okay, I kept reinvesting and reinvesting and reinvesting all my cash flow into property. And yeah, every now and then I'll spend a bit, but I kept reinvesting and reinvesting. I was taking a bus on 4k a month. I was on 4k a month taking a bus, literally. So I am big on reinvesting, okay? Like the first property money that you make, like the first bit of cash flow you start making, that's not going to really affect you. Okay, you start making the last sum of money when you scale. Okay, here I am now, 8, 9, 10 property rent to rent deals making me over 10k a month. Okay, one deal won't make you 10k a month. You know what I mean? You make money when you expand. Okay, when you venture out to different cities. I'm looking at Dubai. Okay, I'm looking at Marbella, I'm looking at all these different cities now. I'm looking at London, okay, to start my rent to rent. Okay, I'm full on expanding and venturing out. That's how you make the serious money in this industry. And I know it sounds like everything just being a smooth surface, but it wasn't. If I remember correctly, my fourth deal was a mess. Okay, I told you all these deals was going really well. I was making good monthly income. I had good cash flow. Okay, I kept reinvesting, but my fourth deal, I kind of rushed into it. Okay, that fourth deal that was Airbnb actually in Manchester. Okay, I had a whole month of no bookings, exactly no bookings. Okay, I don't know why. The Airbnb looks nice. I'm gonna put videos on the Airbnb now, but I had no bookings for a whole month. Okay, I understand the business. I know if you don't get bookings or if you don't get any tenants, you lower the price. I lowered the price, still no bookings. Okay, that was horrible. Okay, but luckily, as I said, I've got the experience, I've got the network. Okay, I had a break clause, so I left that agreement. Okay, yes, I lost a grand, 2 grand over that first month. Yes, I lost my deposit, I lost first month rent, I lost this. But you live and you learn. With experience, you will start to learn and you will start to pivot your way around these bumps and tribulations that you obviously get with property. Not even only that, even letting agents, okay? Even ringing them up. It's tiring. As I said, I was in college checking deals. Okay, letting agents rejecting me, sending out tens, hundreds of emails every single day. Okay, I wanted it. Okay, if you want it badly, you can get it. Okay, I wanted it badly. That's why I'm sitting in a 200 grand car at the age of 18. Who's doing it like this? Okay, when I post this on TikTok and social media, people in the comments say rental, rental this, rental that. No, it's not a rental. My number plate speaks for itself. Like, you know, if you want it badly, you can get it. Okay, and I'm living proof of that. Okay, I was 16, failing my exams, didn't know what I was doing. Okay, I showed you step by step how I got my first deal, how I sold my first deal, and I used that initial investment that I got from that first deal to reinvest and reinvest and reinvest. Every single bit of cash flow went into another property. That's what differentiates me from others. Okay, they would have spent that initial 3 grand. Okay, they would have got 3 grand and went to Moncler or Louis Vuitton and bought new shoes. You know, I didn't. I was on 4K a month taking a bus. Okay, at 17. So, you know, as I said, money makes money. Scared money doesn't make money. When I seen a deal, property deal, on the market for 2 months, I wasn't scared to take it because I knew that I could make money doing that. That's the kind of guy I am. That's the experience that I have in this industry. Okay, I don't even need to view a property anymore. I can know from a property whether or not it will make me money. Okay, any city, because I've got that experience. Okay, because I'm not scared to take the risk. Okay, yes, at the point I am now, I can afford to take more risk because of the cash flow I am at now. But back in the day when I was on £0 a month, £1,000 a month, yes, I had to do a bit more due diligence on every property I kind of wanted to acquire. Yes, I had to do that more research, and obviously to sign the contracts, it obviously took a bit more time due to being scared. Yes, you're human. You have this human nature to obviously have these feelings, but you have to put that to a side and know that you're here to make money. Okay, you're here to hit the 10K months. Okay, you're here to hit the 8K months, even the 5K months. 5K a month at 18, that's incredible. That's more than the doctors. Okay, I'm at a point now where I'm on 10K a month. Okay, I can afford to venture out to cities like Dubai. Okay, I'm looking at expanding my business to Dubai, expanding it to Marbella, expanding it here. Okay, and this is how I obviously built this business for myself. 18 years old, making over 10K a month. Everything speaks for itself. It didn't happen by itself. I had to take action. Okay, as I said to you guys, you have to take action to make money. Okay, sitting around playing games, doing this and that, that's not going to make you any money. You have to really want it. You have to push for it. Okay, every time I drive this and people see me in it, they nod their head. They're like, how? It's because I took action. It's because I took the very first steps to get started. Okay, if you want direct guidance from me, I have a property boards academy with my business partner. Okay, my very first client, my very first student secured his first deal within 4 months of working with us. not even 4 months, it was 3 months working with us, okay? University student, goes to University of Manchester, dropped out of university and got his first deal making over £1,400 a month, okay? He's now using that profit, monthly cash flow, to get his next one, okay? I'm actually giving him one of my rent-to-rents, okay? I've got a rent-to-rent from my landlord. I'm just going to rent it out to him for more. So I make that profit that he rents it from me. You know what I mean? So not only are you joining this academy for the network of connections that I have, you're joining it for that one-to-one coaching and one-to-one guidance from myself. You know, everything speaks for itself. I'm in this industry. I've been in this industry. I've got the experience. I've got the network, okay? I've done all the hard work. Okay, I've been doing this since I was 16. The numbers speak for itself. The success speaks for itself. You know what I mean? If you want my direct guidance, one-to-one coaching, securing your first deal, I hold your hand until you get that first deal, until you get your first set of keys. I will be there. Okay, if you're interested in that, click the link in my bio and join the Property Ballers Academy, and I'll see you inside.